At Mindful, we are a community that's on a mission. We are kindred spirits that have a vision for impact, and we're taking bold action together, and we invite you into that.
What concerned a group of us who started Mindful Philanthropy was we didn't want another report that sat on a shelf somewhere. What we really wanted was action. We said, well, why don't we take a risk? 4 funders came together. All of us were already involved in the space and said, let's take a risk. Let's run a little project.
I've been in a lot of rooms where behavioral health, mental health, and substance use disorders were relegated to the side stage, the secondary stage, or the back room, and never were main stage. I wanted to activate something, and I didn't know what it would be. Ultimately, folks smarter than myself, and smarter than Joe and Paul, and ultimately Tyler, came up with this concept to bring an organization to life.
When Joe Pyle and Rick Keller and I met at a Grant Makers and Health event, and we realized we were sharing the same vision of sort of bringing philanthropy to the table, increasing the flow of resources that could test ideas, de-risk ideas, be proof points. And when I met those 3 individuals and we found natural allies to help build the philanthropy element of that was a yes for me, and I realized I'd found my people, and a major node of the mental health movement could then be built.
We had this moment of, let's put together some dollars, find some really dedicated and committed people to the issue, which we've been really fortunate to have, and let's see where it takes us. One of the powerful things that's happened at the Mindful convenings is how many of the individuals sitting at the table have had lived experience with a family member. A lot of them have struggled to get their family member the care that they've needed, and they don't want other families to have to struggle.
We needed to create an environment where people could tell the truth about their own lived experience. So we knew we had to create a sense of safety. But then it was just about getting smarter together. It was like, what could we learn? Philanthropists could sort of listen and learn with each other and talked about not only their own experiences, but what they were trying to do and what would work and what is the evidence base showing. It sort of like, we're going to be honest with each other and get real, and have a real relationship, and we're going to get smarter together. We needed to build a conducive container first.
The reason my personal interest was in mental health was on a number of dimensions, probably the most salient of which is I lost my beautiful son to issues around addiction and mental health when he was 23 years old.
Personally in the behavioral health space, and I guess I can share this as a funder, is I never realized, in spite of my personal experiences with my older brother and then ultimately my daughter, how the issues of behavioral health, self-harm, and those things affected me directly. There's all these hushed tones of like folks talk about different things they're interested in, and then somebody shares a personal story about, hey, I lost my son to suicide, or my daughter self-harmed. And then down the hall, when no one's looking, you have these conversations with folks. And we just saw the universal need to take mental health from the shadows into the light.
Today, over $550 billion flows in the United States to nonprofits through philanthropy. Yet when we looked at the data, an incredibly small percent we knew was going to mental health, and it kind of blew our mind.
I think and truly believe that one of the things, the visions that I had for Mindful would be that we could be an entity that, one, created a network of funders that were in this space that didn't feel like they were alone in the space, and 2, could make them a lot smarter about how they invested into the space.
Very early on, we said, okay, we have to embrace boldness as an idea for the organization, because what it's going to take to increase funding, what it's going to take to see population level change around mental health and well-being will mean that we take risks and we're going to fail sometimes. But what we learn from those failures, what we learn from embracing boldness, is what's going to really catalyze the organization forward and the field forward.
We have this big goal of $35 billion by 2035. And what makes me optimistic that we'll get there is I think what we're starting to see are real stories about funders who have been activated to invest significant dollars in a problem, whether that problem is early psychosis, whether that problem is crisis services, that we are seeing funders make investments that should change how people suffering can get the help and the services they need.
When we originally started, there was an effort to kind of become the expert on all these different subjects. What we've transitioned to is like, we don't have to have the expertise. Let's just get the experts in the room and be that connective tissue versus the subject matter expert. We're going to accelerate expertise, connect that expertise, and make philanthropy smarter.
One of the things that makes Mindful unique, it's able to convene folks that are coming from different perspectives. And I think it's why philanthropy is attracted to Mindful, is that it's bringing a broad perspective into the room.
The subject matter expertise is out in the country, it's out in the world. So our way will be to bring that expertise together and translate it and pressure test it and discern it so that it can be used for philanthropy, but to always stay humble and learning and not think that we've somehow gotten it. I think that's the secret sauce of Mindful will be its ability to learn and be generative and stay porous.
We are on a mission to really serve as field builders and a catalyst for bringing attention to this field that it so deserves. And I know, speaking on behalf of the board, we're incredibly optimistic about what lays ahead.